Oh, one, strong and free. Africa is our own motherland, fashioned with and blessed by God's good hand. Let us go, our people, join as one, brothers under the sun. Oh, one, strong and free. One land and one nation is our cry. Dignity and peace needs our sky. Like a noble eagle in its flight, Zambia, praise to thee. Oh, one, strong and free. Praise be to God. Praise be, bless our great nation. Zambia, Zambia. Free men we stand under the flag of our land. Zambia, praise to thee. Oh, one, strong and free.
Thank you. You may be seated.
Director of Energy, representing the Ministry of Energy of Zambia, and the Honourable Minister, senior government officials, esteemed sponsors, speakers and delegates, captains of industry, representatives from media houses, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. On behalf of VUCA Group, the organising team, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to the inaugural CNI Energy and Storage Summit Zambia. Today marks the beginning of an important new platform dedicated to unlocking opportunities in the commercial and industrial energy solutions, storage, and the future of power in Zambia and the wider region. The launch of this event reflects a growing reality. Businesses and industries across Zambia are increasingly looking for diversified, sustainable, and cost-effective energy solutions. From solar and storage to digital energy management and efficient technologies, the CNI sector is at the forefront of innovation and resilience. Over the next 2 days, you will hear from leading experts, policymakers, innovators, and project developers who are shaping the sector. You will also have the chance to connect with partners, exchange ideas, and discover practical solutions to the challenges we all face and the opportunities before us. We are especially proud that Zambia, with its unique energy landscape and strong spirit of collaboration, is hosting this very first Zambian summit. It is our hope that the conversations and connections you make here will not only benefit your business, but also contribute to a stronger, more sustainable energy future for the country and the region. I would like to extend my gratitude to our sponsors, local partner Butella Investment Holdings, advisory board members, speakers, and to all of you for being part of this milestone event. Without your support and your vision, this gathering would not be possible. Let us use this opportunity to learn, share, and inspire one another. With that, I officially declare the CNI Energy and Storage Summit Zambia open. Thank you and enjoy the summit. I will now be handing over to my colleague Errol Bryce, the Commercial Director for VUCA Group and our MC. Thank you.
Thank you, Chanel. Good morning, everyone. What a fantastic day it is in Lusaka. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a long dream of the Power and Energy and Water Division of VUCA to run an event in Zambia. You will see VUCA Group on the slides is active in 5 key verticals: the mining, power and energy, mobility, retail, and green economy across the continent. And we are an influence agency at heart. And how do we influence? By creating platforms for people to connect to information and each other. This is exactly why you are at this inaugural event, to bring together the critical players to transform the Zambian power and energy market. The commercial and industrial growth is key to the development of any economy, but it's supported on the back of resilient infrastructure. Development is not the responsibility of one single party or player, but is driven by collaboration and involvement between government and private sector. We hope that this summit will showcase some of the opportunities available to relieve the pressures on the current energy resources, diversify generation options, and lay the groundwork for a strong, resilient, and robust Zambian power structure. Apologies. And through that, a booming Zambia economy. This is a vision set out in the National Energy Compact for Zambia, a vision for a Zambia with a diverse, industrialized economy driven by agriculture, mining, manufacturing, and tourism. We hope that the discussions over these next 2 days will provide some food for thought of ways in which the vision can be accomplished. Together we can go further. Before I hand over to our next speaker, I just have a few housekeeping items to mention. The fire and emergency exits are clearly marked in and around this building. Please familiarize yourself with them. While attending the conference sessions, we kindly ask that you keep your mobile phones on silent mode, and should you wish to take a call, please do so outside in the foyer area. All refreshment breaks are in the room directly behind us where you gathered before entering the room. And lunch will be served in the piano lounge where the ushers will lead you to. Due to the unexpected cabinet meeting this morning, the Honourable Minister of Energy is unable to be with us in person, but we are honoured to welcome on his behalf Mr. Mafeo Ziba, Director of Energy from the Ministry of Energy. Please put your hands together as he delivers the ministerial address. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Bryce, Errol, for those introductions. Good morning to everyone. Good morning. Good morning. I thought I was the only one in this room. It's good they put on the lights now. Thank you very much for the opportunity to deliver this keynote address on behalf of the Honorable Minister of Energy, Honorable Makozo Chikote, who could not be with us this morning due to other commitments. So let me begin by acknowledging all senior government officials present in this room. Let me also recognize all esteemed sponsors of this event. Thank you for making this happen. I also wish to recognize speakers and delegates to this event. Thank you for your attendance and participation in this meeting. Captains of industry, just to also appreciate you for continuing to navigate around the many challenges that the energy sector faces today in Zambia. Media houses, we acknowledge you as well. Thank you for your continued coverage and professional coverage of issues around the energy sector in Zambia. May I simply say, all protocols observed. It is indeed a great honor to welcome you all to this inaugural Commercial and Industrial Energy and Storage Summit, Zambia 2025. Your presence today underscores the shared commitment we have to shaping a sustainable, resilient, and inclusive energy future for Zambia and the region. I wish to extend my sincere appreciation to the VUCA Group and its partners for organizing this strategic platform, which convenes stakeholders dedicated to unlocking Zambia's commercial and industrial energy potential, a vital pillar of our national development. This summit comes at a pivotal moment when Zambia, like many African countries, are faced with energy challenges that threaten government's vision to attain universal access to electricity, diversify the energy mix, and they also threaten our desire as government to leverage on clean energy technologies for industrial transformation. As you may all be aware, government is pursuing an aggressive diversification, economic diversification and industrialization agenda driven by strong growth in agriculture, mining, manufacturing, and tourism sectors. As an example, you may wish to note that it is expected that demand will grow rapidly for energy over the next few years. This will be driven by growth in the mining sector. I think we are all aware about the growth from the current 800,000 tons to 3 million tons of copper. In the agriculture sector, we expect exponential growth as well. In terms of maize production, from current 3 million tons per annum to 10 million tons per annum by 2030. In the same vein, the population also is expected to grow, projected to grow up to 26 million by 2030. So what does this mean in terms of energy? What we're saying it means is that this will now increase energy demand by about 121% by 2030. Therefore, this growth in demand will require a 165% increase in current generation capacity from the current 3.7 gigawatts to about 10 gigawatts by 2030, out of which renewable energy such as solar and wind will contribute 33%. This implies that as a country, we need a total investment in Zambia's power sector of about $11 billion by 2030. And it is envisaged that $9 billion will be mobilized from private sources, and this is something government has also acknowledged under the M300 initiative of the World Bank. To make this happen, the government is creating an enabling environment in order to attract private sector participation. To this effect, government has introduced key reforms, such as the open access framework, the multi-year tariff framework, net metering, and the energy single licensing system. All these, I believe, are topics that will be discussed in this summit in depth over the next 2 days. Therefore, the CNI Summit is a critical platform to address the unique challenges that the energy sector continues to face, but also a platform that will provide solutions to secure Zambia's energy future. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, within government's agenda, the C&I sector is viewed as a catalyst for achieving our national targets. And as such, government has made the following priorities. Number one, modernizing the grid and promoting embedded solutions, investments in the grid, in grid resilience, battery storage, and hybrid systems are central to supporting C&I customers, particularly in economic zones and production centers. Number two, enhancing private sector investment. As government, we recognize that private sector-driven projects, whether in self-generation, mini hydro, or behind-the-meter storage, are essential. Our government is committed to ensuring transparent procurement frameworks and investment-friendly regulation. Number three, the government is also given priority to regional power trading and exports. And with this, Zambia's central location and expanding interconnectors. With Zambia's central location and expanding interconnectors, we envision the C&I sector as a driver of exports, benefiting from cross-border power trading and competitive pricing. Distinguished participants, this summit is a timely opportunity to highlight the vast potential for investment in Zambia's energy transition, spanning renewables, embedded storage, energy efficiency, and clean industrial processes. Therefore, we invite credible investors, technology partners, and financiers to align with the government of Zambia and the private sector to accelerate innovation and scale up commercially viable solutions. As I conclude my remarks, I wish to state that the time to invest in Zambia's energy future is now. As government, we remain open and transparent. We remain reform-driven and committed to partnerships that unlock value for industry, improve competitiveness, and ensure a sustainable energy future for our country and region. To our esteemed delegates, speakers, panelists, sponsors, we want to thank you once again for lending your expertise and insights to enrich the discussions that will be held today. Your contributions will inspire actionable solutions and meaningful partnerships. As you embark on this two-day journey, I also urge you to engage actively, share boldly, and collaborate purposefully. Together, we can unlock the potential of Zambia's C&I sector, advance our national goals, and contribute to a sustainable future for generations to come. Once again, a very warm welcome to all of you, and thank you for being part of this transformative event. I wish you fruitful discussions, during these 2 days, meaningful connections, and a renewed sense of purpose as we work together to power Zambia's future. I thank you, and may God bless you all. May God bless Zambia. Thank you very much.
For those ministerial address and the warm welcome. I'd now like to call to the podium Mr. Palenga Ngoma, Senior Energy Officer of the Ministry of Energy, who will discuss and unpack the M300 Energy Compact. Please, round of applause in welcoming Mr. Ngoma to the stage.
Thank you very much, Errol. So I will be giving a presentation on the compact just to show our country's commitment towards contributing and addressing the energy situation, the energy crisis. So thank you so much. So this is Zambia's energy compact. So my presentation, the contents would be the country sector overview. So we are going to look at the country context. Then we're going to look at the challenges and opportunities, mostly the opportunities, the compact targets, as well as declaration of commitments. Then we'll look at the call for partnership and look at the, is it okay if I can have a mic? Okay, Mike? Yeah. So, as you can see, Zambia is central. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I like to maneuver. So, Zambia is located in the central southern African region. Zambia's location is not rather unfortunate to say. To say Zambia is landlocked, I think is rather we are not providing context to what the opportunities are. So we say Zambia is land-linked. We are centrally located, and our location is very strategic because we can have interconnectors in all directions on the African continent. So in terms of looking at the population of Zambia, the population of Zambia is growing, so the energy demand is also growing, and this is creating a challenge in terms of how access to electricity is being done. So in terms of the growth, we have a 3.3% GDP growth, and 14% inflation. Of course, these figures might have changed over time due to the time when this presentation was done. We have drivers in terms of energy drivers. So in terms of the energy drivers, there are the growth in the mining sector, like my director has mentioned. We are projecting an increase in terms of copper production from 800,000 metric tons to a whopping 3 million tons. In the agriculture sector as well, we are projecting an increase in terms of production of wheat, maize, as well as soya. In terms of what is an enabler of all these drivers, we have energy as an enabler. This actually shows us to say there's nothing we can do without energy. At the C&I conference, bringing together industrial players like yourselves who are key, I think to drive that growth, industrial growth, we need the energy, and we need it now. And most importantly, we need baseload. Now, here is the catch. So Zambia, I'll dwell more on this slide because it's very key. So Zambia has made quite a number of commitments, and some of them are starting to bear fruits. For example, we are saying by the end of this year, we are going to have 1,000 megawatts of solar on our grid. So now, when you look at that, you see that we would have already covered for that uptake in terms of how much renewable energy the grid can take. So we are looking at all the energy sources. We are not restricting ourselves to only solar, no. We are looking at wind, geothermal, as well as perhaps clean coal. So in terms of the energy mix in Zambia, Zambia depends 85% on hydropower, of which we have seen in the past few years, in the past couple of years, I think we have been affected by the drought situation, which has led to all these reforms within the energy sector. Our energy access is fairly low, standing at 52% for the national, and then we have 80% in the urban population. Of course, in the rural, in relation to the national, we have 33.8%. Our growth in terms of demand growth, like the director has mentioned, I think we are going to have a demand growth of up to 120%. So under the Energy Compact that was developed and commitments that were signed early this year in Tanzania, so the Energy Compact borders across 5 pillars. So pillar 1 is generation and infrastructure expansion. So we want to expand our generation with clean, reliable, and affordable energy. And some of the interventions you, as director has mentioned already in the speech, some of them are to create an enabling environment where the private sector is able to participate, where we are able to invite you and we sit down and see the gaps, identify the gaps in terms of financing as well. In terms of the growing demand in terms of electricity, yes, what are the drivers here? We have the agricultural sector, as already mentioned, and we have the growing population. So our population is growing, and the demand is going up. Not only this, here in terms of generation, we are also looking at the availability of the market in the Southern African region. So we have an available market in the Southern African region because we are interconnected. Most of that power can be evacuated through those interconnectors that we are building, like the Zambia-Tanzania interconnector. So in terms of the pillar 2, which is regional integration, I've already mentioned that here we have developed an open access regime where now there's no discrimination to access to the grid. So you can come in, invest in energy, connect to the grid without any issues. So availability of new transmission capacities, like I mentioned earlier, we have the ZTK. These are some of the opportunities that have been created because we have created an enabling environment and also interventions from cooperating partners such as the World Bank, AFDB. In terms of pillar 3, distributed renewable energy and clean cooking, of course this is very, very important because we are trying to ensure that everybody has access to electricity by the year 2030. So our targets are quite ambitious, yet they are achievable. So we are looking at 100% access to electricity by the year 2030. That is ambitious, but we can get ourselves somewhere. So in terms of the pillar 4, the private sector participation. This is where now we are calling upon the private sector to come in and invest in the energy sector. The opportunities are there. The enabling environment we have created for you so that you come in and you have participation in the sector. This has been seen today. We have, during the first quarter of 2025 alone, we have signed 7,000 megawatts in PPAs. 7,000 megawatts in PPAs, which is exceeding our commitment of 11 billion mobilization of fund financing. So we are looking at these and we are telling ourselves, we are headed in the right direction because the opportunities that we have created through creating an enabling environment is actually proving to be effective. Because now we have seen the likes of, Chisamba, 100 megawatts coming on board, as well as other PPAs that have been signed that are in the pipeline. So we are actually headed in the right direction, but we are also calling on you so that you come and fill in the gap where we think that we need the much needed investment. So in terms of the last pillar, that is financial sustainability. Of course, we are trying to create an enabling environment, yes, but also trying to ensure that the tariffs are predictable. So we want the tariffs to be predictable. I think in the next slide, you will see some of the reforms that we have done so that these tariffs are predictable. And one thing I wish to commend the current regime is that there is political commitment and political will to actually drive the energy agenda forward by supporting, these reforms that we are actually coming up with. So in terms of some of the reforms that have been achieved, so we have the open access that is a reform that has been achieved and it's been put into effect, where we are saying, we are not discriminating. We have opened up the market. So these reforms are the ones that have actually enabled those investments to come on board, the much needed investment. In terms of the one-stop shop, which is the energy single licensing system, yes, these systems need to be improved. However, these have been launched. So this is just to streamline the licensing process and permitting process and reduce the regulatory risk for potential IPPs. So this one, you can look up the ERB website. You will find a report, the current annual report, ERB annual report, that actually indicates that we have made quite a stride in terms of signing off some of these licenses. I think if you look at the report, it will give you figures in terms of how many licenses, how many construction permits that we have issued because of some of these interventions. So in terms of also the multi-year tariff framework, we are providing that predictability. People are able to know now and determine and also understand when, how to invest in the energy sector, because they're able to predict now the tariffs are more cost effective. They are moving towards cost effectivity. So in terms of net metering, so here what we are saying is that you see we are trying to move residents away from the grid in terms of so that we can use some of that power to power up the industries. So channeling that some of that power to power the industries, we are saying net metering is the way to go. Encouraging individuals like you and myself to invest in solar power systems or renewable energy systems that enable us to connect and feed back that excess power back into the grid. So we have the mini grid framework where we are saying we have reduced now the threshold, which will help increase access to affordable and reliable energy in rural areas. So here we are trying to ensure that we have more mini grids coming on board, and also trying to address the issue of access. So in terms of the compact targets, so the compact target is to increase access to electricity. That is number one. So increasing access to electricity by moving from the current 1.4 million to about 3.2 million by 2030. So that includes both, the 3.2 million includes both off and on grid. So in terms of increase in access to clean cooking, yes, here we have, currently we are at 9% in terms of the population that has access to clean cooking. However, we want to move that figure to about 40%, even 100%, by the way. Because here, of course, we did have a huge gap, but now with the coming in of the Ascent project, some of the resources might be able to cover for the aspect to do with clean cooking. So in terms of increased share of renewable energy, we currently, like I said, hydro is a new renewable energy source. That's why you are seeing that big figure there, which is 3,300 megawatts. However, we want to move and reduce the percentage of hydro so that, when I say reduce, I don't mean we reduce the megawatts there. I mean, we reduce the percentage by increasing other sources of electricity, other renewable energy sources of electricity to about 9,000 megawatts by 2030. The overall is about 10,000 megawatts, like my director has mentioned. We are looking at that figure in terms of renewable energy. So in terms of capital mobilization, of course here that's where we, we want your participation as private sector, your participation as a commercial and industrial. I just want to put across one example that I saw, I think on the news, is it yesterday? One of the sugar companies is actually trying to set up an 85 megawatts of thermal power. 40 megawatts will be used to power the thermal power, the sugar plant, and 45 megawatts will be injected back into the grid, which is a good thing, and that's what we want to see from the private sector. So in terms of the commitments, allow me, this is the declaration by the president. So allow me just to read through the points, the 3 points there. So the government has those targets that it has set. So bullet 1 there, the target is make 3.2 million additional connections, raising the national electricity access rate to at least 100% from the current 53.6%. So this figure, you are able to find it in the NEAS, which is the National Energy Access Survey report. Thank you. Then increase the access to clean cooking to 40% of the population from the current about 9%. That would result in an additional 3.8 million households with clean cooking solutions, particularly benefiting women and marginalized communities. So we are trying to make sure, especially on clean cooking, there's LPG. We are trying to make sure that we promote the use of LPG in homes and businesses, because LPG is cleaner and cheaper than charcoal, which is, people are cutting down a lot of trees and causing deforestation, and we don't want that. In terms of the bullet number 3, expand the current share of non-hydro renewable energy in the generation mix to 33% by 2030 from the current 3%. Create enabling environment for private sector participation in the energy sector to mobilize 9 billion of private sector investments. So like I said, we are not constraining ourselves to that 9 billion. That can be 20 billion. That can be 30 billion. The reason why is because some of the investments that we have seen are exceeding this 9 billion. And some of the PPAs that we have seen signed alone are exceeding the 9 billion. So yeah, we are looking at 9 billion for now. So in terms of government calling for partnerships, the government invites development partners, philanthropies, and private sector stakeholders to support Zambia's journey towards universal access to electricity by the year 2030. So we are calling upon you, and we have broken down the level of investment that we need. So we have a portfolio of projects within the energy sector that need the much needed investment, like yesterday. So in terms of generation, we are looking at the public investment. That is a figure in million. In terms of private, that's 6.5 million. And we have a total of 7.2 million.
It has done so on the back of coal-based power generation. It now produces and consumes double the electricity of the United States at tariffs that are 1/3 of Europe and a half of that of the USA. This energy revolution is the main reason why the GDP of China has doubled 130 times in 50 years, while most of Africa has remained stagnant, and that includes Zambia and Zimbabwe, which in GDP per capita terms have remained static. What we need to recognize, in addition to this historical analysis, is that electrical energy is now the key component in what we are calling the new economy. We have totally underestimated the impact and the importance of the IT discoveries and the importance of artificial intelligence in the new economic environment. Data centers, which are driving demand for energy at a pace that many are saying now that cannot be satisfied by existing electrical energy technology and plant and equipment. A single data center outside Los Angeles consumes more electrical energy than the city itself. Business in all its different forms requires energy, and in particular, electrical energy. We require power that is available 24/7, available in a form that is stable and of consistent quality, and is reasonably priced. In many parts of Europe, where power tariffs are now at record heights, up to 30 and 40 cents per kilowatt hour, they have signed their industrial death warrants. In Southern Africa, the utilities that have served us since colonial occupation and national independence have incurred liabilities that will haunt them and us for decades as we work our way out of the mess that we're currently in. They can no longer afford to make the huge investments that are now required to meet our current demand and future growth. We are lumbered with aging infrastructure and power plants and are struggling with power shortages that will cripple our economies going forward. So what's the solution? We have to harness new technologies that are creating opportunities to generate power, distribute the new generation capacity to centers of demand, and to mobilize the resources needed to make that possible. The Southern African Power Pool in Harare reports that regional demand for power today is 80 gigawatts. The regional shortfall is about 25 gigawatts, but is growing at 5 gigawatts a year. If tackled using traditional approaches of large-scale power plants built over raw materials, either water or coal, then we are looking at an immediate investment requirement of $30 to $40 billion. With regional utilities heavily indebted and nearly $50 billion in debt, this is an impossible demand. It is now up to the private sector to pick up the ball and to run with it. In Zimbabwe, we have brought together all the major power consumers in the economy, currently using half of all the power available, and we are sponsoring 35 new power generation projects, which by 2030 will generate over 8 gigawatts of power at a cost of less than 10 cents per kilowatt hour. What we have discovered is that if we combine the buying capacity of our private sector, which also has the capacity to pay for power and electricity in hard currency, and therefore service external liabilities, we can source the finance required at a cost as low as 20% of the cost of borrowing by the state. We can also secure the resources required. New technologies allow for the distributed power generation at very low costs. You can generate solar electricity today for 2 cents a kilowatt hour. Large batteries to store and manage power deliveries are now costing 15% of what they were 3 years ago. It is now cheaper to store energy than to generate electricity using traditional technologies. As with all such revolutionary changes, This brings with it great advantages and some threats. I worry about the ability of utilities to stay in operation as they are now have the burden of aging technology, plants and debt. They control the national grid, whichever we do about the future will remain essential and must be maintained and developed. Perhaps the separation of this function from generation industry is the answer. Whatever path we choose, the development of our economies, creating the capacity to support our people, and all the different ways required, will take electricity. And the main task of our governments is to make it possible by facilitating the participation and operation of the private sector. And I think that therein lies the future. And certainly I hope that here in Zimbabwe, that is exactly what we are doing. God bless, and I hope you have an outstanding conference.
Thank you, Mr. Cross. Apologies for the visual, but the audio was pretty good.